Here are three types of channels that you can copy if your goal is to make $10,000 a month with faceless YouTube. So these channels are going to be ideal if you want to work less than 5 hours per week on your channel, if you want to spend less than $250 a month on your channel, and if your goal is to make at least $5,000 per month. If you're unfamiliar, Adam Del Duca made hundreds of thousands with faceless YouTube, and I've helped my students like Diego scale to 20K a month in under a year and helped Yan hit 30K a month on his faceless channel. So let's dive into these channels that we were going to talk about today. So the first one is going to be a animated health science channel. So here we have the example channel Real Logic, just as an example to show you what the potential is in this potential niche right here. So here we have the channel open. And if we scroll over, I just want to give you a little bit of a breakdown of how much money this can make, how to actually produce the videos for this channel, and what it's actually going to cost you, right? Because we want to consider how much are you paying to run the channel and how much can the channel make. So the channel profile is as follows. The RPM in this niche is around $5 to $6, more specifically around $5.68. How are you going to make this channel, right? That's something that people always have a hard time with. What tools, what softwares. And so in this case, you can use a tool like TubeGen. So TubeGen is a tool that allows you to basically create images, animate them, and it does the rest of the production process for you as well. So if you do the math behind it, it ends up being roughly $20 per video. So why is this a good niche? Well, I'm going to explain what the process is to build these types of videos in a second, but a couple things that you want to think about are the following, right? Number one, you can see that a lot of these topics are very evergreen in nature. So if we look at some of the most popular ones, we're going to see that you can see here that videos that are a month old, 2 months old, they're still getting hundreds of views per hour. And this is what you want to focus on if you're building this outside your 9-to-5 job, because you don't have to upload every single day. You're in the rat race of things then with it, and that's just not going to be tenable to keep you, engaged and active on the channel, because it's just going to seem like a lot of work even if you're using AI. So what your body does at night when you apply castor oil before sleep? Realistically, this is a topic that's not going to change for the next forever. And so that means that leveraging evergreen topics is really going to support you building up a channel that, as you see, the videos stack in terms of views per hour. And so month over month, you're generating views on the channel, and that's going to allow you to move into each month with an income that will continue to compound as you release more videos. Now, obviously with health, there's a massive audience for this type of content, which is why many of the videos have gotten hundreds of thousands of views. And so you need to consider when you're entering a new niche, what's the TAM or total addressable market? Because if there's not a lot of potential viewers, there's not only so many views you're going to be able to get. Vice versa, if there's a big market, you have the potential of hitting way more people with your videos. So this is why this type of niche is really important. Plus, it touches on something that's very critical and important to people, which is their health. So how do we actually create videos like these? Because if we take a look, you can see that they are animated images, basically going over the different bodily processes that are explained in the video. So let's say you're starting this channel from scratch. What would this process look like? So first, let's say you wanted to create something similar to this. What you do is you would open up the video and then you would take a screenshot of the actual video itself. So here I have one scene from the video. So step one is copy the design style. And then what you're going to do is you're going to feed this into TubeGen, where you're going to create a new style that's going to basically mimic what you see on the screen right here. So it's going to be able to generate images that look exactly like this style. Now you can make some edits to make your guy have hair, make him a different skin color, whatever you want. So what you're going to be able to do is add in a video as a reference. And then at this point, you're going to be able to produce footage or images in this case that look exactly like the style you're trying to emulate, because again, this is just kind of a fun way to present ideas that's not talking head or basic stock footage that gets boring after a while. So in this case, the next step that you're going to want to do once you know how to produce the videos is going to be picking in-demand topics using vidIQ. So this is where a lot of people, they have a lot of troubles because they don't know how to pick topics. So while it only costs, let's say $20 to produce the videos, they don't actually know how to pick topics that are going to make them their $20 back and then obviously make much, much more. So in that case, what you want to do is you want to have a repeatable framework for finding topics. So how does this work? What you're going to do is you're going to use vidIQ, again, make an investment into your channel, and you're going to be able to use the trending videos feature, which allows you to see which videos on the channel are generating the highest views per hour. And so this is something that you can look at and use as a tool to find topics that you can create for your own channel. Now, what does this process actually look like? Because people just say, do this and then run with it. Yeah, this gives you an indication of what people are watching, but it doesn't mean that you have to copy them word for word. So maybe it's like, okay, force your body to burn visceral belly fat with this morning routine. Maybe instead of morning routine, you do nightly routine or work routine, workout routine, right? But you're basically creating a video that taps into people's desire for burning visceral belly fat. So that's something that you want to think about as you're producing the topics for your videos. They don't have to be carbon copies of what's in the market. You really need to be pulling out the essence of the topics. Now, moving on, if you want to sign up for vidIQ, I'm going to leave a link so you can get your first month for just $1. It is affiliate link. I do get commission from it. If you want to support the channel, that'd be great. But it just gives you a start without having to spend a lot of money. So at this point, you now know how to pick topics. You find these role model channels, and then you go and review their trending videos. I usually suggest that you look at videos that have at least 50 views per hour. This is just going to prove that there is ongoing demand for these topics. Now, when it comes to creating the videos, you need to script, voice, and generate the images. So all you need to do is enter in the title based on what you've come up with from the topic. It'll script, voiceover, and create the images for you. And then at this point, you'll get the full output on the timeline within TubeGen. If everything looks good, it'll do the transitions for you on the images, and then you could just export the video and then upload it onto YouTube. Now, you're going to need a thumbnail as well. So some people are really intimidated by creating thumbnails, but it's actually simpler than you think. So I gave you an example right here where I took this reference. So I just did copy link address. And then what I did was I just dropped it into the TubeGen thumbnail creator. So all you need to do is add in the link, and then you just share what edits that you want done. So here I said, place a character in a gym outfit holding up an avocado and make the thumbnail text, eat this to burn fat. So let's say I was making a video on how to use the keto diet to burn fat, and then it generated this really good thumbnail that is of the same quality as what you see here. Now, maybe you need to, create one thumbnail for your channel because your guy looks slightly different. Not a problem, but then you can use this to create ongoing thumbnails. So if you're scared that you just don't know how to make a thumbnail, it seems too technical, you definitely shouldn't be worried about it. That's the first channel that you can build. The second channel that you can look into are restaurant investigations. So there's a lot of intrigue around this type of channel. Let's take a look. So here you have an example of a channel in Plain Bite, which is focusing on investigations of popular restaurants, stores, etc. So again, kind of getting to the same topic or theme of the last channel is where people are putting themselves in association with these different brands. They're interacting with them, in this case, eating or shopping there. It is highly intriguing to them because it has a personal impact. So, how to shop like a pro at Costco, or don't eat at these different restaurants. Well, that obviously impacts people. So these topics are high intrigue, which is why many of these videos have generated hundreds of thousands of views. Great. So let's talk about this channel. Can it make you money? How do you do it? So the first thing is the RPM. It is $6.14 per 1,000 views. That's how much you're taking home personally. So that, in my eyes, anything over 5 is a pretty good indicator where you want to be. Production strategy is not going to be image-based. It is going to be using VidRush. And so VidRush is going to allow you to pull real images, real footage of the actual stores, the restaurants, etc. And so this is going to cost you around $25 for about a 10 to 15 minute video, which is going to work in the market. Here you see the videos are a little bit longer. So maybe you bump that up to say $30, but it's going to be way less than if you pay an editor. Okay, so how do we go about building out this channel? So the first thing is finding in-demand topics using vidIQ. So we're going to go through the same process as in the last channel. So we're going to look, okay, the trending videos, what are people watching? And we can see here that look at all these videos that are still getting hundreds of views per hour, tens of views per hour. And so these are things that we want to look at. Now, again, you don't have to copy them word for word. Maybe here they're talking about 8 restaurants for sandwiches. You want to talk about 8 restaurants for pasta or 8 restaurants for Chinese food, right? And then the best ones. So again, you're taking the essence of the topic. You know, you can also just take the exact topic and just make the video shorter, longer, etc. But very often just transferring it over to a slight variation is going to work better for you, especially if there's no supply in the market. Now, again, you can use the link below, get vidIQ, test this out for 1 month for $1. Now, how do you actually build the videos themselves, right? Because I told you, you're not going to spend a lot of time making these videos. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to VidRush and you are going to you can use this code. If the waitlist is still up, you can use this code to access VidRush. So you're welcome. You made it 12 minutes into the video, so might as well give you a little nugget here. Okay, so you're going to enter the topic. So let's say you said, 8 Chinese restaurants you want to eat at and 5 to avoid. Fantastic. So what you're going to do is you're going to enter in that topic into VidRush. You're going to then select the voiceover for your channel. When you're selecting a voiceover, what you want to think about is who's the target viewer and which type of voice is going to resonate with them the most. So you're talking about American restaurants, use an American voice. You're talking about Canadian politics, use a Canadian voice. Then you're going to pick the theme of your video, which just pick any, it's very arbitrary. So I guess I should say select theme. And then the next thing is going to be step 4 is going to be to select the background. Perfect. So again, just whatever design style you like. And then step 5 is going to be adding the thumbnail reference. So we want to have thumbnails that are actually reflective of the niche. So if you're going to create a video around don't eat at this restaurant, you can just copy the link. So you can just copy link and then you're just going to paste it into the custom URL. And then the tool is going to generate a thumbnail exactly in the design style of the reference. So once you enter this, you're going to wait about an hour to get the video output. It's going to do everything for you. The script, the voice, it's going to source all the footage, edit it all together, and it's going to give you the thumbnail. So here's just a quick example of what the output looks like on the timeline. And then it's going to give you, as you can see right here, it's going to give you a thumbnail for your video as well. So you just download it and you're good to go. So that's going to be the process for building out this type of channel. You're going to rinse and repeat, picking new topics again and again and again. And then now let's talk about the third type of channel. So pretty excited about this one as well. Over 60 health. All right. Think about how many people are aging, they're getting older, they want to focus on their health, they want to live as healthy as long as possible. Many of these videos on this final channel, Senior Meal Coach, are getting thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. And as of the time I'm recording this, you can see that these videos are only a few weeks old, getting nearly 1 million views. So in that, let's talk about this type of channel. RPM 581. You can make these videos with VidRush as well, the tool I just went over with you. And again, it'll cost you about maybe $25, $30 per video. You can see these videos are around 20 minutes, so maybe say $30. Again, much more cost effective than having a scriptwriter, an editor, a voiceover artist, and saves you way more time. So how are we going to approach this channel? Again, just to drive home the point, this is going to be the easiest way to pick topics for your channel. Just go view trending videos, and then we want to look at what's trending, but we don't want to focus on topics that are, say, a couple days old, because that always has high views per hour because they're new. We want to look at stuff that's at least a week old. So here we have over 60, 3 vegetables you should never touch, and 3 you must eat. So number 1, we want to target people over 60 or over 50, because these are people more concerned with their health. When you're younger, maybe you're less concerned. But also, these are people that are going to have longer watch times because they're typically a little bit more patient with watching content, which makes for them being a really great viewing audience. So if we're looking for topics for this channel, after 60, reverse muscle loss now. After 60, okay, maybe we want to say reverse bone loss now. So again, you can add, remove different elements of the video. You can transfer it over to another item of concern or topic of interest. That's how you're going to come up with the ideas for your channel. Again, this doesn't guarantee you're going viral. It just allows you to use these videos as data points for your own ideation process so that you're not going in blind. Now, if we scroll over, again, you can use the code down below to sign up for vidIQ. Okay, so what's the process going to look like? Very similar. So you've come up after 60, the shocking $1 food that builds muscle faster. So maybe this is our topic, right? Literally all you need to do is enter in the topic into the little prompt panel here. Pick your voice. Again, maybe you want to pick a voice that's going to be a little bit older sounding. So there's young, middle-aged, old. Probably someone that's older is going to want to hear from someone that's older. Someone that's old probably doesn't want advice from someone that's super young because they're going to think this person doesn't really understand me. So moving on, just pick your basic theme, pick your background, and then add in your thumbnail reference. So again, here what you can do is you can just copy the link address, or alternatively what you can do is you can just look at the different options that it gives you for recommendations and then use one of those instead. But the goal is after you start testing a few videos, you have found a thumbnail style that is working for your videos and that you're starting to get traction with them. You don't want to have a ton of different thumbnail designs across every channel, across your channel, sorry. In the example like this, it all looks like one cohesive brand. In the examples like this, it all looks like the same brand. It looks professional, it looks clean. If all your stuff, and even in this case, same thing, if all your different thumbnails look like they're from different channels, people are going to get confused. They're not going to be able to recognize your videos. They're not going to click. They're not going to watch. And if your subscribers are not watching, YouTube is not going to recommend your videos to larger audiences. So what this means is you need to be cognizant of using a consistent thumbnail design when you continue to build out your channel. So that's that. You're going to then wait for your 1 hour to get your video back. You're going to get your output, you're going to download your thumbnail, you're going to upload that onto YouTube, and you're going to watch this video next to learn how I made over $650K with just one faceless YouTube channel.